We're back with Live on Lockdown as we start a brand new, fresh week and talking to one of the superstars of all of the tours, one of the former pros. Then he aged out, took a little bit of time off, focused on family, focused on work, and he's back racing now, and he has been for the last 3 seasons. Welcome, Wade Blaauw. Thanks for joining us here Live on Lockdown. Great to have you with us.
Matt, thanks very much. Thanks to everyone. I really appreciate it.
Dudes, it's, the story of you, I remember kind of like mispronouncing your name, probably Blair or something like that. But probably 10 years ago when you were racing on the Nationals, when I was working for one of the previous television companies. And you were pro back in the day, and you were one of the serious players. So we're going to get to talking about GXCCs in the last 3 years where you kind of come back with a bang. But take us back to those early 2000s and mid 2000s when you were seriously a player on the national championship scene.
Yeah, well, I must admit, racing was, for me, it was so much different back then. It was, well, it's always been fun. It still is. But I mean, back then, you're really trying to make a name for yourself and do this and do that. And, you look back, I think, hey, I should have just had more fun, But we had great fun. Racing was great. I decided after a while you get a bit burnt out and you're going to leave it a bit, but you can't leave it too long, And then you're back at it.
I remember those days back on the Yamahas and was it the Van Veeks and all those dudes? And
that's right.
Good Sight. I mean, that Good Sight was on like Yamahas. You were on Yamahas, and everyone was trying to chase down the factory KTM guys. And you ran some good pace at those days, eh?
Yeah, I was always on the YZ250 in those days, and that was always my bike of choice. And then at a stage we moved over to Honda. We went to Honda and raced there for a couple of years, and then back onto the Yamahas. And at that stage we were all on 450s, and I loved the bikes. The bikes were really good. I had some really good races, and could never really put a championship together, but it was nice to be fast and always to be counted as a contender.
Do you feel you were part of the old school? I mean, no offense when I say that, because I'm an old crusty myself, but the old school was cooler, and definitely the way that you guys, and I include people like Lawrence Mahoney in that as well, by the way, like, because you are all transitioned from 125 smokers, 250 smokers, and then you did the McGrath thing and Ricky Carmichael thing, moved across to the 4-strokes, and it probably wasn't an easy move for you guys because you were so used to the smokers back then.
Yeah, actually the smokers were so good. It's I always, I still tell people today, I said, if you can ride a 2-stroke well, you can ride a 4-stroke easily, So it's just, I think that transition then going that from a 4-stroke to a 2-stroke. And man, I'm glad I was part of that because it was so much fun and it was a great experience.
Also, the national championship back then had a very different feel to the national championship. Certainly the national championship has around the last 3 or 4 years. The numbers are thin, and I mean no offense. I think those guys are really battling to get their numbers going, and there's a lot of economical reasons for that. But the national tour back in the day, you guys were almost pros, living out of vans, traveling the length and breadth of the country. And in a way, it's a little bit sad because there's a lot of venues that we just don't hit anymore. And that was part of racing for me, and probably part of racing for you. Racing was the good bit, but traveling and all the stories you pick up along the way were even better.
Absolutely. And, I remember, especially for as far as that kind of racing was concerned, I mean, we Swaziland, Botswana, wherever we raced. And, it was what was nice, I found, is that when we went to those kind of races, everyone was forced to almost be out there and stay there. And it ended up being so much fun. Now where a lot of the races, it's so close to Johannesburg or wherever it is and stuff that everybody after the race goes their own way, So, and the old school, I mean, we used to camp. I mean, I've camped at many a race before and stuff, and it's not sustaining a hotel, that's for sure. But I wouldn't trade those days for anything. They were fantastic.
Yeah, I know that's. I think after all these years of not racing, someone asked me the other day, "What do you miss?" I said, "Well, besides buying new stuff every day, because I can." I think it was the traveling part and all the other goofball stuff that you do. Driving 2 days to get down to two days to get to Cape Town and stopping in the middle of the Free State and staying in some place.
It was half the fun.
Yeah,
it was half the fun, So that's where many of the stories come from as well. So, but I've been racing for many years, and I spoke to Kenny not long ago and stuff, and he was actually telling somebody that he's been racing for many years, and I was around even before that. So
yeah.
I've definitely been around for a while, and I mean I love it. It's for me, it keeps me sane, and it definitely keeps me out of trouble. And but yeah, I love it.
Listen, dude. Obviously, out in Bloemfontein, there are some dudes for you to race and rag around with, but there's no better training than racing. And I suppose 3 years ago, when I kind of looked at your name on the entry sheets of the GXCCs and thought, oh, I remember this player, and then he rocks up on a 300 smoker, lines up in the seniors. So there was a fairly big gap where we didn't see you swing a leg, and then you rocked up as an old fast dude and you picked up a smoker again.
Yeah, it's quite a funny story. I stopped racing for about, I always had a bike and I always, did a few of the local things and stuff, but I gave the national thing a break. And then I decided, I'm quite keen to race again and stuff. So I phoned Ron up and we spoke about it and stuff. And I actually, the biggest concern was, am I going to race the R1 class or should I ride the seniors? So we discussed it and decided, well, look, rather let's try and go for a championship if we can. Not that I don't think I could run pace. It's just let's rather be reasonable with the whole story. You are pushing on 40 almost. So some championships, and that's what you're trying to do.
So that year, and I'm trying to think, 2018, you ran the smoker for the season, but you must have probably known halfway through that year that you needed some more ponies.
To the desert race, and I qualified at that stage. I was chasing Bolly van Rooyen, and I qualified about a minute behind him. I don't know what happened to me in the time trial and stuff, but I caught up to him within 10 seconds by the first refuel. And then it was quite fast, the next section to the following refuel, and he pulled like 4 minutes on me. So yeah, I realized then, the two strokes, they are great and they're fantastic bikes, but yeah, the new four strokes are just that much better.
Was it a tough decision to go full 450? Because I know from riding a couple of the different models that the 350 is probably the best all-rounder, and you'd have probably been probably agonized when you went to the shop and went, what do I buy next?
Yeah, I must admit, that was another conversational point. And then, I was quite keen for this and for that, and I made a few suggestions. And Ron said to me, he said, from the KTM's point of view, we want to try and push the 450s. And he thinks he can get the bike running well, and I must admit, since I got the bike, I've been so happy with it. I've never looked back and said, oh, I wish I had this or I wish I had that. And the bike's fantastic and I love it. I absolutely, it's my favorite bike.
I think it's time that we talk about some of your competition, because really you've kind of made a name for yourself coming back and banging bars with Bruce. I wouldn't say he's been your nemesis, but you guys have been so equally matched that it has come down to whoever pulls the whole shot. And it certainly was the case in that first year on the 450s, which was 2019.
Yeah, I must admit, Bruce, he's such a tough competitor and stuff, but when he takes his helmet off, he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet, so it's kind of hard because, a competitor, you want to hold a bit of a grudge against, so that you can push yourself to do better, but he's such a nice guy. And it's a pleasure racing with somebody like him. It's always good competition, and you always know you're not going to have words or anything afterwards because he's just such a cool guy. So yeah, I hope we race for many years to come, because it's been great fun.
So let's go forward, because obviously we've got some nice footage of you ripping the bars off at the GXCCs this year. Round number one, it was unknown territory for a lot of people, and I've said this before to a lot of the guys on lockdown. And with Black Eye and buying out the GXCCs, everyone was kind of biting their fingernails, wondering and maybe worrying a little bit about how the track layout was going to be. But I think round one answered a lot of the critics, and it was a different format of a GXCC from the point of view that it was a very tight and technical track, and it was a long day, man. I mean, tell us about how things went at round number one at Bronchies.
That's one of the things for me and stuff. And I've always been known for one of the guys that really likes the fast stuff, but the tighter stuff, the technical things, I enjoy now as well. It's maybe now that I'm a bit older, it's just, you want to go flat out and fast stuff, but you definitely enjoy, having more turns and this and that. And that specific track was a lot of turns. I remember, even some people complaining, saying, yes, there's a lot of turns. I said to them, hey guys, it's not all about holding it flat out down the straight. It's more about the turns and getting your thing done. So for me, it was a fantastic race. I thought it was awesome. My bike was perfect for that type of race. It's set up perfectly, and great race. Bruce had some problems with his bike, and some of the guys had problems, and I really had a great race. It was fantastic. Great layout. And, I'm so glad for the guys that took over from Lawrence to really have done a good job, and they've kept the quality high. And, Africa is to not drop the ball, because they've definitely got a good thing going.
Did you find it a struggle from the timing of the race? And what I mean by that is, I looked at the calendar and went, wow, I don't think we've ever started a series so early. It was the 1st of February. And I always used to look at my calendar and go, it's normally Valentine's Day we go racing. So it was probably 2 weeks earlier than any other year we've ever raced.
Yeah. I'm looking back now, especially with what's happened with this whole COVID-19, it's actually, thank goodness we did that, So yeah, at least we got some racing in. But I think it makes it difficult sometimes. A lot of the guys, they only get their bikes quite late in the year, and obviously you want to test and you want to set up and do this and do that. But I was fortunate enough to get my bike at the end of last year already, so I was ready. Come January, I was ready to go. So I'm glad they did it that way. And I mean, I think in future, if people know that this is what's going to happen, it's not going to be a problem at all.
I just want to bring in on the Roost KTM side of things. I know you've been pals with Charon for a long time, and I sometimes in a way forget how young Charon is, because he's got that old school, let's just go racing and have a goofball and have fun, and if we win, it's fine, and if we don't, it's fine. He must be the coolest dude to hang out with in the pits, man.
Yeah, no, look, Charon and I, we've come a long way. I've known him since he was like really young. When he started riding 125s and stuff, we started a little team together at that time, and I often go to Lady Brand and we go training and stuff there. I've actually got a few training camps lined up as soon as this lockdown thing as soon as we set free. But yeah, he's great fun to have around, and but we're still going to see him at the races, although he's in a different team now. That's what's nice about going to the races. It's like family. You're friends with everybody. You stop and you chat with everyone, and I'm looking forward to it again. I can't wait to go racing.
We'll talk about GXCC2 in a second, but just remind me of how things went for you at that opening national, because if the GXCC started early, then the national started early, because I think you must have pretty much rolled straight there after the pits, didn't you?
Yeah, I must admit that was the national was pretty cool. If I look back at 2019 in Lesotho and stuff, I had such a good race. I led most of the race, and it was really such a good race for me. I unfortunately had a little crash and broke a few ribs, so I never finished the race. But I was so looking forward to Lesotho. It's also, I've been riding there many years, so I've always seemed to do well. And yeah, man, I don't know. It was a great race. It was a bit too technical for what I was expecting, if I was comparing it to the previous year. But I thought it was a fantastic layout. I thought the guys put in a lot of and well done to Charon and to his team and stuff for putting their hand up and making things happen. And
obviously 2020 for the Nationals, you're actually trying to nail down that number one plate, because Bolly's, I don't know what the story is with Bolly. He just didn't turn up this year.
Yeah, I must admit, when I saw that he had decided now to call it quits, I think I was more heartbroken than he was. Him and I have been racing for many, many years. We've chased each other for I don't know how many years already, and And he's such a fierce competitor, and I really, I've always felt I've had the speed to beat him and to do well, but I've just never pulled it off. And although I beat him in a couple of races, I really was hoping to do it this year with him being there. So, but yeah, you never know. Maybe after a year or two he'll be back. So I'm holding thumbs.
And there's always those other pros that age out and want to come senior racing. That for me, when I was a senior, was the scariest part.
Correct.
Looking at the pros and going, who's old enough to jump?
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I think the more competitive it is, the more I'm being pushed, and I tend to do better that way. So for many of the GXCCs, I actually thought maybe I should move up to the R1 class because it might help me push my speed up for the national off-roads. But yeah, at the end of the day, you got to make a decision. Is it really what you want to do, or you just content in where you are, because you just want to have fun, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm having lots of fun, so it's cool.
That's it. So let's talk about GXCC number 2 then. Me and Ive went out there a couple of times before, and we knew going to that place, and we said it on the pre-event media that was going to be the fast one. And from a rider's point of view, it seriously was. I mean, that's as fast as you can go on your 450.
Yeah, I must admit, we used our 6 gears flat out the whole day. But that kind of racing I like as well. So it's even though they did the best of the terrain that they had, I feel, and it was safe. I mean, it was fast, and everyone's like, oh, but it's so fast and this and that. But that's off-road racing, and I definitely feel it was a safe race. It definitely didn't feel dangerous to me, and it was fun, man. I have so much fun at these GXCCs. I wish they would have one every weekend. I really do.
And you said to me, you legitimately got a clean hole shot, and they don't happen that often to you, do they?
Yeah, it's a little game that Bruce and I always playing, because I've always given him hell of that I can't get the whole shot of them and stuff, and luckily I could get past him usually quite early, but yeah, I tell you, it's been bugging me, and I think it's been a mental thing. But now after I got it, I'm quite chuffed with that. I see even after the race, he came to me and he said, you got your old shot. Well done.
Yeah, I love the rivalry. And I seriously, I mean, I talked to you guys on the Live on Lockdown, and I think you are something like our 20th guest since we've been doing this thing. So it's been a great journey for me, and everyone thinks I know everyone, and I know a lot of the guys, but there's a lot of little gaps in my knowledge as well. And I've learned so much about a lot of people on this journey of ours for the last 5 weeks, and hopefully that's actually allowed the viewers to know you guys a little bit better as well.
Yeah, I think it's great what you guys are doing. It's just nice to speak to you guys again, and for me, I've watched all of the things because it's racing, man, and it's what we love and it's what we do, and it's nice just to hear from the guys, and everyone's got their own perspective of what they've done and how they're doing their things, and it's interesting. I love it. I'm glad you guys are doing this.
What's the training program like for you then? I mean, obviously you're a family man, and I'm sure the family are keeping you busy as well, and that's, I think, been the toughest part for all the racers that have got their kids, and shame the kids must be just losing their minds at this stage.
Yeah, look, don't even go there. But for me, I haven't been at a place where I can ride bikes or do anything like that. So I mean, you can also only run so many times around the house. So you try and keep your cardio up and do what you can and eat correctly and stuff. But I mean, there's no substitute for riding, So I think when we get a gap and we can go riding again, I'm going to be at it, man, a lot. So I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, I have to admit, my wife's been making me work at home. Yeah, I've definitely been kept busy, so I actually could this lockdown
couple
thing
of projects.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we're all the same as far as that goes.
No,
considering just knocking down the house and rebuilding it for something else to do.
Yeah, well, it's been suggested. Don't worry.
Well, listen, brother, it's been fantastic catching you up, and I want to throw this one down to you and say,
Hello. Hello. We're back. Matt.
We're back. We're back.
We're back.
We're back. Okay, good. Is everyone back?
Matt, I can't hear you.
I can see Wade trying to move there. I can't hear him though. Sorry about that, guys. We're just trying to get back online here. As soon as we get Wade talking, we can get something going. I can see Wade is there, but we're just trying to link up the audio once again. Just hang in there with us. But a little bit of a drop out there. These things do happen, unfortunately, with us on lockdown, but we'll try and keep it rolling.
Ivan?
But it's been a great journey to...
I can hear you, Ivan, but I can't hear Matt.
It's been a great journey to talk to Wade there. Wade, if you can hear us, and if you can try and respond. I can't hear you at the moment, but if you can just respond. I'm going to throw the mic to you and say if you want to give a big shout out to anyone. And just from my side, I can't hear you at the moment, but you can just give a big shout out to whoever you want to. And thank you from my side for joining us here. No, I don't think we're getting Wade here at the moment, so we're going to have to wrap this one up. Sorry about that, folks out there, but as soon as we can say a proper goodbye to Wade, we will do that. But I'm going to sign off here from my side here at Hollywood and say thanks to Wade, and we'll get ourselves ready. Next week, Monday, we're going to be chatting to Ryan Wilkins from Polysport, and he's going to be talking to us about his journey with the Polysport South African brand. It's been an amazing journey for him. He's been involved in racing. He's got his hands dirty out there on the pits, on the bikes, and in the industry. So tune in live on Lockdown. That's going to be 2 p.m. on Monday next week. That's the 4th of April, where we go live on Lockdown with Ryan Wilkins from Polysport. Join us then.